What is up, everybody? My name is Rice. Welcome back to the channel. I don't need the AirPod in because I'm not. I only gotta listen to anything. My name is Rice. Welcome back to, the channel, of course. You might be wondering why I'm not live to recap Game 5. Well, quite frankly, I don't want to go live tonight. I'll be honest. I don't want to be live for an hour and a half. I got things to do, for work and such. So I'm up here doing a video instead. I apologize for those of you who were expecting a live stream, but we'll be doing plenty of live streams over the summer, so we'll be able to talk then. So tonight's game, the Montreal Canadiens played the Washington Capitals at home. At home for the Capitals, I should say. We played the Capitals at their home, and we didn't win. Unfortunately. Very, very unfortunate. It was a great game. It was a very good game, but the Capitals win. They take the game, obviously, as you can see, above 4-1. They will win the series 4-1 as well. We're going to get into it. Of course, I have my notes, as always, which I should probably pull up. There we go. I've got my notes. As always, for those of you who are new, what I do is I do the stats, the lines for both teams. I go through my little game summary recap, whatever you want to call it. I do the lines, the stats for the Canadiens, and then we work our way on out of here. So, let's get right into it. I do want to say right off the hop, though, this was a great season for the Montreal Canadiens. Even though it might not look like it, that we're out in the first round in 5 games. This team was bottom of the division, bottom of the conference, I think, even, in December. After 4 Nations, there was a huge turnaround for this team. The fact that we even made the playoffs at all is astonishing. And while the final result, of course, is extremely disappointing to Montreal Canadiens fans, it's great to know that we held in for 3 of the 5 games that this series lasted. We held on pretty well. Even if at times the team didn't, the goaltender didn't, and even if at times the goaltender didn't, the team did. This team looks really good for the future. There are, of course, moves to be made. There's rookies to be waited on. There's free agents or trades to be made. This was David Savard's last NHL game. I wanted to get that out of the way. Not get it out of the way, but you know what I mean. You know, talk about it. I actually didn't end up put. Actually, no, I did put on my notes at the end. But David Savard, this is his last NHL game. He thankfully does go out with a cup. He did win in, I believe it was 2021. I think he did beat us, and then he signed with us that offseason. I'm pretty sure that's how it was. So best of luck, of course, to him in retirement. I believe he said that he wanted to spend more time with his family, with his kids. I believe that was the reason that he's retiring. So best of luck in retirement to David Savard. Let's talk about this game. So the opening lines for the Canadiens were Caulfield, Suzuki, Slavkovsky, Anderson, Dvorak, Gallagher, Newhook, Evans, Demidov, and Heineman, Kapanen, and Armia, at least up front. Matheson, Carrier, Gooley, Hudson, and Jack Savard were on the blue line. Jakub Dobesh gets the start in net for the Canadiens, and Caden Primo backs him up tonight with Samuel Montembeault, unfortunately, still out. He's still out with injury, so yeah, Primo's the backup. The opening lines for the Capitals were Ovechkin, Strome, Beauvillier, McMichael, Dubois, Wilson, Mangiapane, Eller Leonard, and Duhaime, Dowd, Protas. Chychrun, Carlson, Roy, Sandin, and Alexei Van Riemsdyk were on the blue line. Logan Thompson gets the start in net for the Capitals tonight. And, Charlie Lindgren backs him up. Sorry, I'm updating the notes as I'm updating the final score, because one of those is actually getting updated right now. So, yeah, Charlie Lindgren, of course, would back him up. Actually, real quick, I forgot if I have the Jets thing up. I have, should probably put that is not a 5-1 game as I'm uploading this, thankfully. Alright, so once again, let's get into this game. So before the game, Laine and Montembeault are still out. Laine is a healthy scratch. Hopefully he has played his last game as a Canadian. Montembeault still out. Hopefully he has not played his last game as a Montreal Canadian, because he had a really, really good season. Yeah, obviously he'll be good for opening night, I would assume. Obviously he'll be good for preseason. But for Game 5. So the Capitals only beat us because they had a backup goaltender in net. Carrier was a game time decision, and he could go. When the Canadiens posted their lines about 5-10 minutes before the game, Carrier was in there, so we would not see Jaden Struble. Goulet has a big hit behind the Habs net and a minute in. Anderson then stands up Alexiev with the puck. Capitals get the first shot. There's a good stop from Dobesh. Habs with a little bit of pressure. TVR gets a near break, but shoots it just wide. Habs top line gets some press. There's a good Slavkovsky turnover to center the puck to Suzuki. That gets stopped by Logan Thompson. Plenty of quick whistles 5 minutes in. There was not much of a flow to this game to start. It really wouldn't pick up. I mean, there were points where it picked up, especially in the final five for the Canadiens. But for the most part, there was a lot of whistles, offsides, puck into the netting. That's how this game went. Which is a big yawn fest for large stretches of it. Heineman twice ends up crashing the net, trying to bury a chance. Gallagher also does it. That ends up causing a very small scrum. Not much at all. Just a, hey, get away from my goaltender. Canadiens press for the leading goal. The shots are actually 7-1 for the Canadiens 7 minutes in. So really good start to this game. Just not a lot of tough chances for Thompson. Right into the chest. Easy glove stop. Well, easy glove stop, I should say. But, because he's a... he's a right-handed catch. Most are left-handed, I believe. Habs then go to a power play as Dubois. I thought I put Dobesh on my notes. I did not. Dubois gets called for a really bad interference on Ivan Demidov. That one just... That doesn't need to happen. He doesn't need to run interference there. Demidov then gets away with a trip in his own zone. He then gets tripped, so you let one go, you let the other go. Habs win a draw clean, the opening draw clean, but it's just too quick for Hudson to react in time. It gets back in the Canadian zone. Habs get a really good passing play going. They get a man open. They get Caulfield open. He gets covered. Back to Hudson. Over to Demidov. Finds somebody. Suzuki ends up being a man open. And the pass across is just too far for him to get an actual one-timer. To get a one-timer, he has to kind of hold it, drag it over. And it just gets stopped. After that, the Capitals clear. And then it's 4-on-4 into a Capitals power play. Slavkovsky gets called for a slash on Brendan Duhaime, so 4-on-4. Evans tries to burst in, but he's not able to, and the Capitals score right off a draw. Ovechkin makes it 1-0 9 minutes in. I believe that was 2 seconds into the actual real start of the power play, because I believe Dobesh had covered a puck right as the power play was actually starting. I said power play goals that'll end the series. Surprisingly, that wasn't the game-winning goal, but either way, Canadiens are 0-for-1 in the power play tonight and 0-for-1 on the penalty kill tonight and make it 2-0. 2 minutes after that, Savard has a horrible defensive play, goes to the left side of the ice, just leaving Chychrun streaking in. Cross crease, he buries it, 2-0 Capitals. I put the series is done. That would actually end up being the game-winning goal, and the series-ending goal. In the actual game. You can look back at various points where the Canadiens lost the series, but you get what I mean. Canadiens press, God bless them, they look for something, anything. Anderson had left the bench at this point. It looked like he had something bothering him. He ended up returning about 4 minutes later, thankfully, so Habs will not be playing down a man for the rest of the game. Habs then go to a power play. Duhaime's called for roughing Goulet right off of a draw. Another kind of needless play. A little bit of a soft one, I would say, but fair enough. I'm a Canadiens fan. I won't complain about getting a power play. Habs have some good press. Great passing to find a man. Demidov gets a chance, but Dowd with I believe this is where it happens. Dowd with a fantastic stick. Just as he's getting double covered, just across, slashes not the stick, but the puck away from Demidov. Really good D play there. Hudson to Caulfield has a good look. Suzuki presses, but nothing in the back of the net past Thompson. Habs are 0-for-2 on the power play tonight. Matheson, off a random turnover by the Capitals, has Heineman wide open for a potential one-timer. He just takes the shot himself. Heineman then, moments later, rings one off a post. Anderson goes for a hit on Roy. He gets stood up. Ovechkin goes the other way on a 2-on-1. Savard just gives him the shot. Greatest goal scorer of all time. Third liner. Cover the third liner. Savard made some bad plays, I'll say, in his last game, so... he will be missed as a defensive player for the Canadiens, but on plays like this, he will not be missed. Dobesh is able to make the save. Caps press. There's a couple more stops for Dobesh. Shut up, phone. Duhaime gets a break off of a Habs chance. There's a clean break. He fakes out Dobesh just off the side of the net. Thank God. Because if we go down 3-0 at that point, this game's probably 7-0 by the end of it. Capitals press in the final minute. Dobeš has another save. Wilson has a hit on Dvorak, and time's able to run out before a potential 3-0 lead for the Caps. Shots are 11-9 for the Capitals. They have a 2-0 lead after the first period. Opening minute, Capitals want another goal. Dowd gets a chance that's stopped. Wilson collides with Suzuki. He goes right into the crossbar. Thankfully, he's fine. After a moment, he was just a little bit dazed. He wouldn't even miss a shift. Anderson gives a puck away. Dobeš gets 2 more stops. One that somehow gets to Ovi in the slot. Kind of pulls one of these, get the pads together. He stops that. Shots are 7-1 Capitals 5 minutes in. So the Canadiens in the first had a 7-1 shot lead. Capitals in the second have a 7-1 shot lead. Caps then go to a power play a minute later. Matheson gets called for a clear slash on Protas. Habs clear. There's a shorthanded 3-on-1. Evans across to Gouli. Great stop by Logan Thompson. That was probably his best save of the night. Best save of the second period for sure. There might have been 1 or 2 in the third that were better. But that was definitely a top 3 save of the game for him. Capitals get 0 shots. Habs are 1 for 2 on the penalty kill tonight. Dobeš keeps the Habs in it at this point. Top line presses for the Canadiens. Hudson and some good passing. Just can't beat Thompson. The first commercial stoppage comes 10 minutes into this game. There was a little bit of fast and furious action. Said there was not much of it. Never said there was none of it. Anderson ends up going offside at that point for what was probably the 3rd time he did that in the game. He would do it at least 2 more times. Canadiens try to press and return. The Caps are all over them. Habs look like they ran out of gas with 7 minutes left. Caps press after an icing with Waugh out for nearly 2.5 minutes. Dubois was wide open, but there's no pass. Hudson has a good defensive stick to start a Canadiens rush, but a pass just ends up out of reach for Slavkovsky. Caps press. Anderson ends up nearly getting a wrap chance after beating out an icing, but Thompson makes the save. Caulfield then eats a stick in the mouth, it looks like. He slowly gets off the ice. He would not miss a shift, thankfully. Could not go down Slavkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield, potentially. That would have definitely spelt the end of the game for us. At that point, what would have wasn't necessarily 100% game over. It was about just 85% game over. Canadiens go to the penalty kill with 4 minutes left. Evans called for a hold on Mangiapane, and yeah, unfortunately, I would have let that go, especially at that point of the game, but I get why they call it. And they score. Dobeš makes 2 fantastic saves. First one, he loses a stick. On the third try, though, they put it home. Tom Wilson gets his second goal of the playoffs 18 seconds into the power play. The Capitals take a 3-0 lead. Canadiens are done. They are 1 for 3 on the penalty kill tonight, and I believe that was the last time the Capitals got a power play. There were no penalties in the third period, I believe. No, there were not. There were no penalties in the third period. By the way, Ovechkin scores. Shut up, phone. Ovechkin scores his goal from Strome. Chikrin scores from Dubois and Wilson scores from Karlsson and Strome. John Karlsson with surprisingly his first point of the playoffs. So he had a horrible series. They didn't really need him though. That's kind of crazy. I didn't even bother with notes for the rest of the second period. There was next to nothing that happened aside from Capitals trying to make it 4-0. So, like I said, 3-0 Capitals have a lead. The shots are 20-15 for the Capitals after said second period. Habs actually have their skates on to start the third period. They played quite well. Suzuki had actually been demoted down to the second line to play with Demidov and Newhook. Actually, technically the third line, but Demidov and Newhook had been moved up to the first line. And Caulfield and Slavkovsky are moved down to the third line to play with, I believe it was Jake Evans. Jackeye and Wilson nearly had something. Jackeye grabs onto him after a whistle. Wilson's a pussy. He just skates away, of course. And the Canadiens score, I believe, on the very next shift. Emil Heineman ends up tipping one home right in front. I don't know why I put it right in the slot. Right in the crease. As he's tied up, he scores that one from Armia, who takes the shot. And Oliver Kapanen with his first playoff point. That might have been Emil Heineman's first career playoff point. For sure his first career playoff goal. I believe that's also Heineman's first point. So if your name ended with an N tonight for the Canadiens, you were probably getting on the board. And if your name had an A in there somewhere, decent chance you were going to get on the score sheet too. Habs make it 3-1, 2:40 into the third period. We have a chance. Shots are 5-1 for the Canadiens 5 minutes in. I had to take a note. We always play well with zero pressure on us. Canadiens press as Devo's line gets a chance. Andy has a strip. He finds Dvorak looking for a tip shot. Thompson saves that. Canadiens press. They get zone time, but not a ton of shots at this stage. Canadiens then try to press. With 9 minutes left, shots are 10-2 for the Canadiens. Not a ton of big shots, but just shots. Jack-Eye shoves a cap after a whistle, but not much after that. Neither team wants to take a penalty. Obviously, it's a Game 5. If you're the Canadiens, you want to be able to pressure and not have to be on the penalty kill. Yeah. Suzuki presses. There's a shot for Demidov. That's blocked. Matheson tries to pinch, but that leads to a 2-on-1 for Ovi and Strome. We saw that earlier. Ovi tries to pass, but it's blocked by Carrier. So Carrier, good chance there. Carrier, a little bit better at stopping any hits on him, but still ate a few. Not as big hits as the Wilson one from last game, but a few decent ones. Gooley gets a good look with a screen in front, but that's blocked by a Capital. The rebound gets cleared a few times. Anderson, this is where he's offside for, I believe, the 5th time in the game. My God, I want him traded so bad. Canadiens press hard once again, him and Matheson. Nothing. Dobesh goes to the bench with 3 minutes left. The top unit's out with Demidov. They press. Suzuki gets 2 looks, 1 in the slot, and Thompson just robs him there. There's a timeout for the Canadiens with a minute left. The Capitals clear. Demidov ends up having to race back to stop an empty net chance as he didn't realize it was going a little bit faster than he thought it was. And eventually they do score off of a clear. Brendan Duhaime gets on a break and just slides it home for the 4-1 lead with 26 seconds left. He scores that from Connor McMichael. So Connor McMichael had a very solid playoffs. They've up to 3 goals, 5 points in 5 games. Again, very solid. I like Connor McMichael, even if he did beat the Canadiens. He played quite well. That's just a fact. If you don't agree with that, then I think that you're just a little bit biased. Yeah. So, yeah, it's 4-1. Time runs out. All the Habs go to David Savard. They send him off with tears in his eyes. Of course, we get the handshake line. Wilson and Anderson exchanging some smiles. Probably talking about, hey, dude, you want to brawl on the benches again next year? And, probably a little laugh there. So the final score is 4-1 for the Capitals. Final shots are 29-28 for the Canadiens as they pressed in the third, but just couldn't get it done, unfortunately. So, Canadiens, season is done. Before we get into the stats, what's next for the channel? Well, firstly, I want to say I will eventually do 365 days, 365 movies. I'm thinking of either doing a live stream where I talk about all the movies and you guys give me your thoughts, or I'm thinking of doing a giant 3-hour marathon of all the months. I don't think I want to do that, but who knows? Maybe I will. I actually just looked over the list last night, and I remember a good majority of my thoughts for a lot of the movies and shows that I watched, so fingers crossed I'll do that for the video as well, whenever the hell that gets made. DVD collection video will be coming. I've wanted to do a DVD collection video for technically a year and 4 months now, since the last one I did in 2023. I've gained a shit ton of movies. So I want to do that at some point. Streams. I'll be taking just a few days off, probably working on some videos, just not actually, uploading them. I'll be taking a couple days off, and then I will probably be coming back up here. Don't know if I'm going to be doing streams on the PS4, on the Xbox 360. I'm going to see if my other PS3 is working, because my current PS3, the main one that I was using, the battery in it is screwed, unfortunately. So it turns on and then turns off within 2 minutes by itself. So that sucks. Either way, I want to do a lot of gaming streams this summer. I do want to play through all the WWE 13, 14, 15, the showcase modes, the things like that. I want to play well, maybe not 15, we already did that last summer. But I want to play through all those, and I want to do a tier list ranking all of them. So the only thing is I'm going to have to buy 2K18. I'm going to have to get 2K17 on the PS3 and try and jailbreak my PS3. So fingers crossed, because you cannot get the DLC for the PS4 version anymore. And obviously you can't jailbreak the PS4, unfortunately. Not yet, at least. I know I'm going to have to buy 2K24 and 2K25 and I think 2K22 I think. Or 2K20. I'm going to buy 2K20, so we'll see when we get there. But yeah, so we're going to do more gaming streams, hockey content, of course. I will be live up here for the first round of the draft because the Canadiens have 2 selections. They have 16 and I believe 17. I believe it is back-to-back picks, barring Calgary, of course, winning the draft lottery, which would only bump them up to 6th overall should they win, which I think still gives them that first-round pick, the 6th overall. I think that Monahan trade is still messed up. But we'll be live for the draft, of course. Free agency will be live for. I'll come up live if the Canadiens make any big trades during the off season, make any extensions, any big extensions. If they extend Joel Armia for like a 1-year deal, I'll do like a little video maybe. Yeah. So video gaming content, movie content, hockey content. We're gonna have plenty of that here on the Harry Rice channel. With that being said, let me stop rambling on. And just get to the stats for the Canadiens for the end of this game and the end of this first round series. Lane Hutson with 5 assists leads the Canadiens. So Lane Hutson, the only guy who was point per game. Insane. Cole Caulfield with 3 goals and an assist for 4 points. Why do I feel like Nick Suzuki's stats are wrong? Wow, surprisingly they're not. Nick Suzuki, Christian Dvorak, and Juraj Slafkovsky each with 2 goals. Alex Carrier, Brendan Gallagher, and Alex Newhook each with a goal and an assist. Ivan Demidov and Joel Armia each with 2 assists. Emil Heineman with a goal. Patrick Laine, Josh Anderson, Jake Evans, David Savard, end of his career. Mike Matheson and Oliver Kapanen each with an assist in this series. So plenty of depth. Caulfield played fantastic. Hudson played fantastic. Suzuki, the points don't do him justice. He had a great series in my opinion. Aside from Game 4, he had a really, really good series. So yeah, maybe I'll do a video in the next week or so of what's next for the Canadiens, where I talk about guys they maybe trade, maybe guys they could trade for, free agent acquisitions I would like to see, assuming that nobody gets re-signed, which there's going to be re-signings, but Marner's going to be a free agent, guys like that. So I'll do a rough estimation of who I think gets to free agency and who I think the Canadiens are going to sign. I'll do stuff like that. Maybe who I want them to draft. We'll see. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. So that is going to do it for today's video. That is going to do it for the playoffs, unfortunately. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Harry Rice. Please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, favorite, share, and which includes, but is not limited to, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and everything else. My name is Harry Rice. Subscribe to join the Puff Club, the HC Club, Sub Up, and the D Nation if you remember the Mod Squad. Thank you for writing your comments on any streams and or in videos. It is much greatly appreciated. Links in the description are the Amazon wishes, the PO Box, PayPal, Discord, Letterboxd, Twitter account, the Twitch, and the Streamlabs, all down there below if you want to support the channel. Please do so. I will always accept it. Thank you. Thank you all again so much for watching. My name is Harry Rice. Again, and I am out. Love you guys. See you guys. Bye, guys. Love you guys. See you guys. Bye, guys. Love you guys. See you guys. Bye.